All right, here we go. Abbasid Dynasty versus HRE. Hut versus Bring Back Delhi. I didn't know they ever left. They've been winning some games when we were watching them, but their pick rate is definitely down right now, and showing that he feels that they are outrageously crap. Bring Back Delhi, not only refusing to play Delhi, but choosing what is considered to be one of the bottom 3 civs right now, which is the HRE. And it is going to be on King of the Hill. And he's going to be up against Abbasid Dynasty. Abbasid Dynasty that seem to have just fallen in popularity, mainly because people are... I think more than anything, it's just them avoiding playing Abbasids until the exploit gets fixed, which hopefully will be in the patch next week at the time of recording, because we are recording this on December the 5th. But let's see how this one plays out. Bring Back Delhi I haven't watched before, but I'm always excited to see how people play with HRE. I think HRE has a very... kind of unique twist to the way they open, right? Like, what's your prioritizing in prelate? What do you want to actually prioritize your prelates doing, right? So, for example, quite often we'll see people hold at the food line for the first, like, 30 seconds at least, and then move to the gold line for 4 or 5 workers. We're not seeing that. Instead, actually, we're seeing Bring Back Delhi move his prelate across already, and then return it, which maybe could be argued not be the best, most efficient play. Maybe this is just showing that he plays Delhi mainly. And he's trying to find someone new, so he needs to get that feel for it. But yeah, the normal opener is to keep most people on food, maybe move 1 across onto the gold line, place the mining camp, and then once you get about 4 people up on the gold line, that's when you move the prelate across the buff. That way you keep them kind of min-max efficiency, because over here is buffing more people, of course. And then the cool thing is that you rapidly gain enough gold to get your tech up around the same time you have food. Whereas I think this might leave him slightly stunted, but we'll have to see. Hut is definitely doing a better job right now. You can actually see that he's already up on the food and gold. But this is going to happen, by the way. Remember, the prelate costs 100 gold to invest in at the start. And that's why, like, honestly, Bring Back Delhi will catch up, which you'll see. Apparently, Bring Back Delhi is 413. Is that correct? So, a fairly dispersed matchup right now. Because Bring Back Delhi being at... but that makes sense. So, he's 413. ELO rating of 1474. He's played 36 games, 67% win rate, respectable. Hart, of course, is in the top 20. He's sitting 15th right now, 146 games played, 1787 rating. So you can see that, you know, it's going to be the challenge. It's not going to be the easiest match. And he has chosen HRE, which we already highlighted. Definitely is feeling weaker in some ways, but definitely still has her strengths around tech timings. So we'll have to see if that can be utilized. Arkan Chapel going down in a very wonky location. I can't say I'm a big fan of this. So usually the Arkan Chapel, you want to try and find that additional value, right? Of like, it's buffing my X and my Y line. This is only going to buff your food, and for the moment anyway, and then your wood line. Your wood line, which isn't going to last long, remember, because it's this tiny pocket. This Arkan Chapel, I would have preferred it over here on the berry bush line and on the gold vein line. And then you move the sheep across, and then you move onto the berry bushes afterwards, and then you have that double value. But I think Delhi's got to have something in mind, right? I think from Bring Back Delhi's mindset, like what he wants to do here with the HRE, he's probably thinking prioritize wood, get military infrastructure, and then push out a food-heavy unit. Whether that's horsemen or spearmen or the man-arms, right? But obviously, if he wants to give man-arms, you have to keep going on that tech boom up. Like, yes, I'm aware as HRE you can get the early man-arms. I just don't ever see people doing it. I feel like the potential of man-arms for HRE really does get unlocked at Castle Age. And it's also, it's not assisted by the fact that there's that delayed ramp up to them being effective. I actually think not having the blacksmith research is a big deal. We've seen how slow man-arms are at 1.12 movement speed, so you need that extra 10% to juice them. Otherwise, just crossing the map is so tedious. Like we saw on the channel recently, a player win on King of the Hill with man-at-arms, but for so long he was actually harassed. He was actually playing Abbasids. If you remember that game, folks, it was the Muslim versus Dick the Birthday Boy. And yeah, the man-at-arms suffered from being like so stunted on their movement, even though they won out in the end. Once again, as we were saying and talking about on the stream today, that is more to do with a failure to create a composite force by his opponent. And I'll be interested to see what kind of composition we get out of an HRE player here. Like I said, we have seen Hart himself use the Horseman Rush with Knights very effectively. And I do think that might become like the go-to play if you're looking to end the game within 20 minutes as an HRE player. If you're looking for a later timing, I do still think Men-at-Arms is kind of the go-to. And it does make HRE in some ways a very linear faction. Because, to put it quite bluntly, how often do you see HRE players build into archers? It feels counterintuitive in some ways because you get the buffs in other regards, right? Like, you're strong in X and Y, so why would I go for archers? I haven't got a unique unit. I haven't got unique tech. In fact, if anything, the game is pleading me to play towards melee infantry with Landsknecht. Landsknecht, I'm going to try and say that correctly. I'll have to practice it. I'll have to like listen to it and repeat on Google. Because I think someone told me the K and N is not silencers. I've been saying Landsknecht. It's Landsknecht, which just sounds terrible. We'll just call them the Land Boys. The Land Boys are what the game wants you to play towards with man-at-arms, right? And that means you're just playing like solely an infantry composition in late game. Means you're very immobile. Which is why we're seeing stables drop early. This is mainly just to go gather the corpses, though. You can already see he's building the scouts. He is researching professional scouts. Is the opposite plan to do something similar? Because it looks like Hut has taken a deviation. He's building a wide-out TC. This is an interesting play up against the HRE, especially how we play like Hut, who has proven that you can rush with HRE before. Reason it's an interesting play is it means you're going for a dispersed economy, which means you're actually very exposed, and that's why he does this. This is actually very cool as well. Hut, an experienced HRE player, understands what the play is going to be. As an HRE player, you want to play a tight economy, which means you need to bring all the carcasses to you, right? You need to get the scouts out, you need to gather up with all these deer and bring them back. So he's going to box this off to ensure he never gets, to use the correct terminology, yoinked, all right? We don't want to see him get yoinked here, so he's going to box these in. Uh-oh, wildlife is out. It's like bloody Zoo Tycoon all over again. He can't go and get this one. This one's too far out. But this one will be completely secure. So he's denying his opponent, like, oh, I'll say, how much is it? We'll have to learn this quick math so we can do it instantly every time. So 350. Oh, actually, that works out nicely. So yeah, it's just 300 times 8. So he's going to block out 2,400 food here, right, from his opponent. And then he can get that 2,400 food himself. But the other 3 pockets, they're totally going to him. I don't see Hut trying to take this away from him. He's building a stable now. It's not too late, actually. I don't think... Did he still... No, he didn't yoink the corpses over here. He actually yoinked the closest corpses because he wanted to make sure he had deer being harvested immediately for maximum food efficiency. But I really would like to see Bring Back Delhi push across to his opponent's side of the map for deer. So far, vision-wise, he does know about these. So he scouted out... Basically, he didn't even care about his opponent's base. He just wanted to find that and go for that. So he should just be quick on this because, as I said, the opposite player is going for a double stable drop. And I'm expecting some early scouts here. Yeah, he's just lacking on the gold front now if he wants to get the goodies. Because he needs the research. Okay, so no, he's actually going for the horseman. Interesting choice. Against HRE, I'm not sure if this is the advice option. This is good for getting in position for a tech boom. So the reason like I think Hut's doing it is it's not about aggressing the eco lines. Why he thinks it's the correct option is because he's expecting a tech boom out of the HRE player, which he's ready for, and we say they always do. As you can see, it's now being built. So what he wants to do is he wants to move the horsemen out to the relic locations. He wants to actually block out his opponent from gathering these, because remember, you get 3 times the quantity of gold when you bank them in the Regnitz Cathedral. As you can see, a plus 200% extra gold every minute, meaning each relic gives you 300 gold a minute. So yeah, horsemen moving out. Hut, I think, sees everything as well. Yes, so he more or less knows all the relic locations, so he can just sit on top of them all. And this is a really smart play actually against an HRE player because they don't tend to build any aggressive military forces early on, right? The only thing he's likely to build is scouts, which is, as we mentioned before, why you boxed in this area and then harvest it yourself. But it does mean that while you're surrendering the food, you're actually not surrendering the gold, so I love this move. But now, you can see Bring Back Delhi, in conjunction with the tech up, is dropping a double racks, and he will quickly have the eco required to support it. He might get sniped out on 1 or 2 prelates in the process, though. You can see his scout is moving out. He's going to give the vision of this. And in fact, that is exactly why Bring Back Delhi will turn his old man around and send him back to the retirement home. Doesn't want to lose the lad. And he has got 3 prelates. This gets wonky, actually, because you invested in a second prelate here and you're kind of AFK in base. You've got to get out. And that's why he's going to move to the right here. This one is not being guarded right now, but there is a wraparound coming out. I like the fact that Hut's splitting up. As I like to call it, the Scooby-Doo, just splitting up and looking for clues. It's going to be important because, like we said, the only way that HRE are going to win this long-term is if they secure those relics. But if you deny him every turn for the first 3-4 minutes, it actually makes this tech rush worthless. And yeah, he's doing it. He's moving in. Not that he's needed. There's a wolf here anyway. In fairness, the wolf probably wouldn't be quick enough, but the horseman will. And I don't think it will work. Remember, Horseman's so quick to move away, you'd never actually be able to stop them. So yeah, poke the long sticks right up the old man's prostate. Give him an early doctorate check. So snipes out that one. Pushed away on the side. Military force is now coming out. But as we said, every minute delayed here is a huge loss. Like we said, that extra treacle, right? You're missing out on 300 gold per minute. Adds up quite quickly. Just being delayed by 2, maybe 3 minutes max. So 2 prelates moving out. Has got the knight now and the spearman. This will be able to guard it, but he's going to have to bodyguard the prelates all the way. And look where he's stationed the horseman. Oh my god, no, Delhi, don't do it. He knows about this relic. He knows about this relic. But he's not going for it yet. And he is, in the meantime, also securing more of these carcasses. So scout out from Hut. Sees the prelates. He knows! You know, usually snitches get stitches, but instead it's the old men that need stitches in this world. The prelate, he tries to run away. It's another 100 gold wasted. And this is turning into what I can only define as a donkey-ass experience for Bring Back Delhi. And he's probably wishing they bring Delhi back quicker with the way this is playing out. So Horseman probably loses 1, maybe 2 of them, but it's totally worth it. Can't get at this one because he hasn't got a second military pocket force to chase out. Knights are treacling out, but it's because he's put so many people on gold. Look at this. Bring Back Delhi. His kind of favorable preferred situation right now is having like half this amount max on gold, right? He wants additional on food. He's barely got anyone on food in comparison, right? If we actually look at the numbers, Bring Back Delhi. Okay, there you go. He's shifting them over. It was actually like 10 around that on food, and then the rest were on gold. But he's switching it up now. Because he needs to ramp up that food production. He knows it. He actually needs to be able to field more spearmen right now. Because that's what he's having to deal with, right? It's just the horsemen. The problem is that with Hut halfway through his tech up, it's not just going to be horsemen for long. Soon it's going to be the men-at-arms. And the men-at-arms, with a springled force at their back, will hold you back. Horsemen, in the meantime, just chasing through, looking for any stragglers that they can pick away at, peck at. Oh, the prelate again! He doesn't go for it. He actually doesn't go for it. I'm surprised by this. He could have sniped him out, and he wouldn't have been protected because the knights were already over here. But instead, what is he looking for here? I think Hut would have seen that, or it was like right on the edge of seeing it. So he might have just missed the prelate as he walked past. That would have been a big deal, right? Because he just banked the second relic. That would deny him the third. But now Gold Treacle is going to ramp up hard. It does say 200 per minute. Ignore that. It's a dirty, filthy lie. In fact, you'll see it. If we look at Bring Back Delhi, his income per minute right now is 350 with 2 relics banked. He doesn't have ace, and they're up to 450, basically because it's catching up as it's been banked. He doesn't have a single person working the gold lines. And this is a problem now for Hut. Hut just went on the clock hard. He reached the castle age, but now he needs to apply some pressure. And there's not really much he can pressure, because as we mentioned, right, with the HRE, it's usually quite a tight formation. And there's so much military infrastructure here now as well. He only has horsemen on the side of the map, so there's really nothing they can do. It's more just about keeping the knights locked here and then patrolling all the time. And I don't think he sees this. The timing on this, because Bring Back Delhi saved up on that food, because he moved everyone to the gold line, he's going straight into Palace of Swabia. This is a very big deal here. Remember, Abyssus went for a double TC drop. So they've been somewhat eco-booming, right? They've been getting a decent amount there, at least on the village account. HRE's been behind. It's 40 to 65 right now. But as we said, the gold coming out of that Regnitz Cathedral makes up the difference. More so and over. But now the Palace of Swabia, with this quick production of 5 seconds per villager, is going to allow him in the next 5 minutes to just completely stomp the crap out of Hut's economy in a matchup of just the income numbers, right? Like, income already is sucking hard for Hut. Doubled up on the gold front. Bring Back Delhi got more food coming in. The only thing Hut has surplus of is wood. And that's because Delhi doesn't care about it right now. In fact, if he wants, he could just drop a marketplace and trade for whatever wood he needs. But here you go. This is where he just moves in, with the Palace of Swabia just functioning as that new wood line. And it's just so quick. Just watch how quickly this number's going to go up. Just a few seconds ago, we was talking about him being on 40 workers. Already 46, 47. His opponent's at 70. This is about to turn into a basic game of counting with the count. 48, 49, 50, it's like I'm on half speed actually with the count. But yeah, you just see how quickly that gap is closing. And Hut in trouble himself now. Starts to build a men at arms, but these knights, this is a superior force against this, right? Takes longer to produce them, yes, but one, HRE can afford them in surplus due to their gold surplus off the back of the cathedral. And two, they make men at arms look like old men with Zimmer frames. 1.44 movement speed when they get the charge, but whenever they don't, it's just that measly 1.12. That is definitely a problem town. So we'll get rid of these initial knights, but it's just scouting everything. Like, if anything, this was just a recon force for Delhi. And he now knows everything about the base. The only thing I don't think he knows about is this expansion, right? He doesn't know about the TC expansion, but he knows everything that's coming. He knows about the spam of racks. He sees the man at arms. He understands what he's going to be up against, and now he can pivot to counter if he wants to. The question is, what does he counter with? It's going to be the Langschneck. Langschneck absolutely beastly in this situation, folks. Sorry, Langschneck. I'm going to try to get that right. We'll eventually get that right. Like I said, I'll basically load it onto a tape and listen to it at night. All here at night is a mixture of Langschneck and then Langschneck. 9! Okay, sorry, I probably hurt someone's ear there. But that's what we're looking for. Yeah, 17 damage, spread damage from the Zweihander. It's going to be spooky in these fights. Remember, man-at-arms aren't designed to kill, they're designed to tank. And that's where he needs the other element to his composition, right? It's not spearman like he's building. Because that's actually the kind of crazy part, right? He's building spearman because he anticipates his opponent is going knights. His opponent is actually not building more knights. You can see it, right? Just one knight over here, and that's literally it. And this knight is simply here to guard against any sneak around this side. And the wall's going down. It's going to be prevented as there's a move in. But here come the Langschneck. And this is going to be a lot of spread damage coming out. Look at the health quickly. They're not attacking right now. They're running past. And now they're going to cleave. They're in position. Look how quickly they carve through them like turkeys at Christmas. Trading reasonably well, but not enough frontliners here. And he did screw up a little bit. I think there was too much running from the Langschneck when they should have been clubbing. So he's going to lose his troops. Decent cleave damage nonetheless, and he's going to start to ramp up the racks. He needs it. Understands the pressure he's under. Understands that now that the Regnitz Cathedral has been banked, he's on the timer. With his opponent Imperial Age, he's on the timer. So he starts to build hard in the springles now. Right in his enemy's base. Because remember, running these across the map would have taken way too long. What is going to be the answer? Because we talked about how HRE doesn't like building to range, right? Range would be fantastic here. Crossbowman against the man-at-arms would actually just wreck right through them. But he's not going to do that. What I would actually love to see coming out of Hart is a Mangonel. But he's going to go back and ramp first. I hope he also builds a Mangonel, because if your opponent's clustering Langschneck, they are so pathetically weak against Mangonel fire, right? Only 80 health. Genuinely, this is the weakness. This is the thing that people always complain about with Langschneck, is if someone sneezes on them, they'll probably die. Which, the modern landscape probably isn't the hardest thing to imagine, but genuinely, what I mean in general is if you just, I don't know, a light gust of wind comes their direction, they're probably going to get carried away. Now Springles sniping out the monasteries. I believe, the Palace of Swabia is sniping out a few of these. They're a little bit too close, but the double battering ram moving in. Even if all the damage he does is just wrecking this Regnitz Cathedral, it's worth it because it stuns all the gold income for Hut. Gold income that is being spent at a decent rate by him right now. But look at the numbers. Oh, not Hut, for Bring Back Delhi, rather. But look at the numbers right now. Like, Hut is almost matching Bring Back Delhi's gold intake. So he's going to surpass him. He's able to keep fielding more of these siege weapons and also replacing the army back in his base as he keeps up production of man-at-arms out of 6 racks. So, Monastery down. 2 relics on the deck. Isn't going to try for the cheeky wall play. Won't get a chance to. Gets dropped. Man-at-arms. Holding back the line. These are upgraded now by Bring Back Delhi, but he never got the final unlock. These aren't elites just yet. So these man-at-arms with the assistance of Springles can hold them back. Langschneck not there in enough numbers, and it means that Hut is going to hold. However, he's losing a few of these siege weapons to the scout wraparound. And remember, he is on home field, so you need to get more troops in quickly. Lancers are coming in now as well. And slowly just pushing him back. Trying to get rid of the blacksmiths before it completes the tech as well. Could be a big deal getting Bloomery here. And I think he might just siege it just in time. Just hold him at the choke points as well. And the villagers even involved, just trying to stop him from taking the cathedral away. But how many villages is it going to cost you? Do you even care is the real question when you're HRE with the Palace of Swabia? It's a question we'll see answered soon. Second batter ram's going to turn around now. It stopped the tech up in one of these. Can't stop the secondary blacksmith. But with the treacle in, Delhi just doesn't get enough out quick enough here. Really big mistake not going for this tech right here. He needed a military academy. He needed these troops out much quicker than this. And he also needed to upgrade them to elite status quicker. And that means despite being an Imperial Age, he is now under pressure. And the heavy boot of Hut is starting to stomp down hard. Two of these relics, actually three, because he pulled one out. Big mistake there, by the way. He pulled a relic out, but never went for the wall play. He would have been hidden behind the cathedral, so there was a potential play there. Completely missed the opportunity, though, and now Delhi getting less treacle, and soon to get none, as the battering ram is still just hitting into the Regnitz Cathedral. And more of these sprinkles being built up. I mean, Delhi, he kind of deserved this to some degree, but I'm also at the same time looking forward to this not being the meta soon. So many sprinkles in his base, 11 now. And Delhi, I feel like you've got one last Ura, one last shot, but it's going to come at the sacrifice of your Regnitz Cathedral. And that will take quite some time to rebuild. And with that falling, now you still don't have the quality, and you definitely don't have the quantity. You won't be able to field it either, because you're going to run out of resources quick. I think he at least got the man-at-arms upgrade, so they're up to elite status, but the Landsneck, they still haven't been upgraded themselves. So costly at 300 food and 700 gold. And he starts to surrender more terrain. And this is looking like the beginning of the end. You can see Hut celebrating with a dance, a Congo line around the battering ram, as the man-at-arms do their jig, celebrating their victory over the HRE here. The battering rams are knocking at the main door of the TC. And I'm kind of surprised that Delhi hasn't tapped out. I think he's given himself this one last ERR. 9 Langsneck. I just don't even see how you get close. And keep in mind, folks, this was without a Mangonel play. A Mangonel would have made this even less likely to be pulled off. Here we go. Let's see that last one, Ura, fizzle out. Because he knows he has to go now. And the Sprills, they get the early heads up. Shooting away at the targets. Great idea out of Delhi in this game. Just didn't really have the point of execution. He needed the walls up sooner. He knew the pressure was going to come out. But he just wasn't prepared for this many men-at-arms supported by Springles. And because of that, Hut, quite convincingly in the end, despite the fact that Delhi did get his relics, did get all 5 of them in the end, is going to win out here. I love the early pressure coming out from Hut, and I love the follow-through, proving exactly why HRE are just such a weak matchup for the Abbasid Dynasty. And the GG should come out now. Can I just say I love the moss being dropped as well? Just trying to out-religion the HRE at the end. Really fantastic play by Hut, though. I love the way he played this. I love the way that he applied early pressure with the Horseman and denied the relics for the extra few minutes. I do think that made the difference. Otherwise, maybe you have the tech-ups in time as the HRE player here. But because you get blocked out on them for like 2-3 minutes on average extra, because you're not able to get the Regnitz Cathedral perks in that timeline, it does slightly delay his Imperial Age timing, and then more importantly, delays his ramp-up of military force. And that gives Hut the edge. Great identification by him, and great follow-through with just a double TC standard for the Abbasid Dynasty.